Mike Pence, I keep saying Fox News is like the font of all bizarre right-wing propaganda, for lack of a better word. And Mike Pence was on Fox, essentially, not essentially isn't even the right word. I mean, literally lying through his teeth. It's just, it's pretty extraordinary. And remind me, Troy, which website carried that? That was Alternate, I think? I'm not sure. Think Progress. Perfect. Thank you, because I wanted to get the article and be able to reference it as well. So, yeah, here we go. So Mike Pence was on Fox News, and he said, well, let me just share the clip with you. Here, this is Mike Pence on Fox News this morning.
And the Graham Cassidy Bill, we believe, is the right solution at the right time to repeal and replace Obamacare with the kind of reform that will allow states to innovate and to create better quality health care, better access for Americans, and capture that innovation of democracy and reform that, frankly, our founders contemplated when they crafted the Constitution. Almost anything would be better than Obamacare. Obamacare is imploding. It's collapsing all across the country. It's remarkable to see the pattern. We've seen people losing their insurance, losing their doctors. We've seen the average American see the cost of their insurance go up by more than $3,000. You've got thousands of counties across the country where there's either only one choice or no choice. Literally, these Obamacare exchanges are collapsing before our eyes.
Okay, and then you go to Think Progress and you read this piece by Melanie Schmitz, who actually did the research. And unlike Mike Pence, who has a long history of lying for political purposes, she says, quotes Pence saying, these things are collapsing and you got thousands of counties where you don't have coverage. She writes, this is simply not true. According to the nonpartisan Kaiser Family Foundation, as of September 15th, that was this week? As of September 15th, 2017, there were 0 counties in the United States with no insurer in the marketplace. 0. So Obamacare is available everywhere in the United States. And, you can read the whole piece and all the details of it. There are some problems, but the problems, virtually 100% of them. I mean, Obamacare is working really well in New York and California. It's and blue states. It's having challenges in red states where the governors refuse to expand Medicaid. And now you've got the Trump administration. This enrollment period was supposed to be 3 months long. They've cut it down to 2 months. And there was millions, about $100 million or thereabouts, as I recall, $130 million appropriated in Obamacare by Congress for the administration to spend for what are called navigators, for people part-time. It's sort of like being a census worker. It's a part-time gig, seasonal. It has to do with those 3 months or now 2 months at the top of the year, at the end of the year, when you can enroll for Obamacare. What the Trump administration has done is they've simply eliminated those monies. So those people are gone. And the advertising that was associated with that, don't forget, here's how to call, here's how to roll, here's how to sign up, all that kind of stuff that was happening during the Obama administration. They got millions and millions of people coverage. Trump has killed all that. They are trying to kill Obamacare. And now you've got Mike Pence just coming out and just flat out right, of course it was on Fox and Friends. They lie frequently to the American people. Sometimes explicitly, more often than not, by implication or by lies of omission rather than commission. But this is this is the bizarre fate of America in the hands of a totally sold out Republican Party. It's terrible. Anyhow, Catherine in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, Catherine, what's on your mind?
Hi, thanks. So 2 quick points. First off, if you notice what Mike Pence says and what your guest earlier said, they make these declarative statements that the Graham Cassidy bill will lower premiums, will increase access, will do this. And generally speaking, the host counters with, but this study says it won't. But I have yet to see somebody press them on the question, how? How is it magically supposed to do all of these things? And I have yet to see a single one of them give an answer to that. And then the second point.
Well, if I may, before you get to your second point, Catherine, the reason why you haven't heard anybody in the media ask how is because since Reagan changed the rules of the media to maintain your broadcast license, you actually have to broadcast news. They've shifted away from policy discussions and information, the actual news, and toward drama. Because drama is, holds people's eyes and it sells more advertising, makes more money. So all these so-called news agencies with these networks, they're not going to talk about the details of this. They don't even care about the how. What they care about is what's the vote count going to be? In other words, sports, right? Which team is going to win? And who's upset about this? Is John McCain doing this because he's angry with Mitch McConnell, or is he doing it because he's angry with Donald Trump? They don't give a rat's ass. They don't give a damn about the actual specifics. And they should, because we need to be informed. Forgive me for interrupting, Catherine. You were saying.
Oh, yes. And the second point was that you'll hear them, almost in the same breath or in the same segment or back-to-back stories. We just had the story about billions of dollars being spent for police departments to carry these kits to save people who are overdosing. And
right, the naloxone.
Right. And never once do I hear these red state Republicans make the argument that this is welfare, this is, people mooching off society, this is, everyone should take care of themselves. Yet at the same time, you have someone who has a condition that they're born with, heart disease, or allergies or whatnot. They're not arguing for EpiPens. They're not arguing for crash carts. They're not arguing for basic health care that people have no control over. And this is not to belittle addiction in any way, shape, or form, but that is something that people have put themselves in the position to take those medications. That is something that, that through treatment and such can be controlled. And all of the arguments that they make for saving people who are suffering from opioid addiction and overdose, they don't carry those arguments over to basic health care. And it's impossible to not do them both. They're the same argument. If it's a legit argument for one, it's a legit argument for the other. If you can spend $1 billion on one and it's not entitlement and it's not, someone else taking my money, it should carry over across the board. And you see the hypocrisy right there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And let me add something to that. There's a dimension to this that nobody is discussing. You were talking about naloxone, which is the drug that you can give somebody who is in the midst of an opiate overdose and dying of an opiate overdose, and it reverses the overdose. That drug has been around for a while. Also on that spectrum are state-run shooting galleries, where, like in Vancouver, British Columbia, where if you're a heroin addict, you can go in with your heroin, and they will give you a brand new syringe and a brand new little thing to cook it in so it's sanitary. And there's a nurse there if you have a problem, and they've got plenty of naloxone if somebody overdoses. And it radically decreases the HIV infection rate, the Hep C infection rate, and the overdose rate. And it actually causes people over time to stop using narcotics. It's just, there's not the frantic up and down and all this other kind of stuff. So there's this kind of spectrum of treatment from what I just described, the full embrace of addiction as a medical problem that we're going to address, to triage, basically naloxone, to Jeff Sessions' war on drugs, basically. And the reason why you're hearing a conversation right now in the United States, some towns are even opening up these shooting galleries like I described, But more importantly, or not more importantly, more commonly, you're seeing towns that are now equipping their EMTs and their police departments with naloxone. Whereas 10 years ago, and I had these debates on this program a decade ago, people would come on and say, you know, there shouldn't be the naloxone, there shouldn't be the shooting galleries. People who are drug addicts get what they're deserving. They deserve it because they chose to use those drugs. They should be in prison. If they die of an overdose, I'm not going to cry, blah-de-blah-de-blah. What has changed in those 10 years, roughly, maybe 15, is that the addicts, the percentage of addicts who are dying from these overdoses has shifted from being mostly a problem of African Americans, at least, you know, in the perception of the public, to mostly a problem of white people. And now that white people are dying of it, it's like, oh my God, it's not a criminal thing. We need to deal with it like, you know, medicine. And so it's another, you know, it's another way of revealing the essential white supremacist, racist nature of the politics of this nation.